Hi friends, and welcome to another Phonics Fun video. Today we're going to focus on adjectives. Okay, so what are adjectives? So adjectives are words that describe a noun. So if you remember from previous videos, a noun is a person, a place, a thing, or an animal. So those are the four different types of nouns. Okay, so when you're thinking about adjectives or ways to describe a noun, you're really going to think about your five senses. So, what you can see about the noun, what you hear possibly from the noun, what you can smell, taste, or touch, or feel rather, and you're going to think about your thoughts. So, when we're also using adjectives, we're also thinking about, what do we think about that noun as well? So I'll give you a couple of examples of adjectives. Okay, so you could describe a noun's shape, and this is an example of an adjective you would see. So when you're describing a noun, you might say that it's square, that it's straight, that it's curved, that it's round, flat, or crooked. Okay, so some sound adjectives are things you could hear. Maybe the noun in this case is music or radio. So you might say that it's loud, quiet, horrible, nice, or squeaky. Okay, there's also smell. So here are some adjectives for to describe nouns and how they smell. So you might say that they are stinky or bad, or maybe it smells floral, meaning it kind of smells like flowers. Maybe it's nice, maybe it smells delicious, maybe it smells sweet, or maybe it smells burnt. Okay, so here's some adjectives to describe nouns you can taste. So maybe in this case, your noun is your favorite food, and you might say that it's salty, you might say it's delicious, you might say it's sweet, you might say it's burnt, or you might say that it's sour. So these are all adjectives you might use for those. Let's say that you want to describe how a noun feels. So in this case, we're using our sense of touch. Some adjectives you might use are smooth, bumpy, slimy, for all you slime fans out there, hard, soft, or furry. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about how a noun looks, I'm not just talking about what I can see, but I also might be talking about what I think about that noun. So here are some examples. So if you're describing how a noun looks, you might say it's bright or dark in color. You might say that the noun, say it's a person or animal, is fat or thin. You might say that it's beautiful or handsome. So these two here are actually examples of something that you might think, because what's beautiful to one person might not be beautiful to someone else. But again, it's something you could see. So you might talk about how something is shiny. You might talk about or describe how a noun or person is bald, or you might even mention color. Okay, so when we want to describe what something is like, or what someone is like, Again, this doesn't really use our senses as much, but this really comes back to what do we think about that person or animal. So in this case, some adjectives you might use to describe those kind of nouns are funny, boring, or exciting. You might think that noun is nice. You might think that noun or person is brave, smart, careful. Maybe they're forgetful. And again, you can also use those feeling words. So sad, happy, maybe they're angry. And then we also have number. So funny enough, number or quantity or how much of something is also an type of adjective. So that's something you could see, but that's also something that you might think of differently than someone else. So an example of what you might think of differently in terms of number is few or many. Because what's few to some people might look like a lot to someone else, right? You also have 1, 10, and 40. So any kind of number when you're really describing a noun, in that case, if you're using a number, you're really describing how much of that noun is there, perhaps. And again, that's something you'd also have to think about because maybe you have to count it out first. Okay, game time. So first, you're going to think about or look at the noun that's given, and then you're going to list some adjectives or describing words for that noun. But here's the catch. You only have 15 seconds. That's right, there's a timer this time. So here's an example. Oh, my 15 seconds is going. Using my senses, let's see. I could say a kitten is fluffy, soft, furry, white, black, pink nose, sharp claws, and playful. Whew, okay, didn't quite beat time that first time around. So that's just an example. So again, you're always going to have um your senses on the side as well as that thought bubble to think of, how would I describe the noun, the place, person, animal, or thing that's given? And again, you're going to want to list those out. So I will be giving you 15 seconds of think time. As soon as you get the next picture, I need you thinking of those adjectives. So again, you're either thinking about what you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or what you think about that noun. Go for it. This one is smelly marker. 3 seconds. Whoa, okay. Let's see how you did. So some adjectives you might have used are, you might have talked about the smell, so maybe it smells nice. You might have talked about how if you're looking at the color, you might think that that's blueberry, so you might have said maybe the smell is blueberry. You might have talked about how this marker looked or writes, so you would mention the color, which is blue, or you might have mentioned also what it physically looks like, and you might notice that this is pretty round. Get ready. The next one is tree. All right, time's up. Let's see. Okay, so some adjectives to describe a tree. You might say, from what you know, that it's tall. You might be looking at the picture here and you might say it's green or brown. You might have mentioned the texture or the way it feels and said that it's rough. From what you know, you might have said that the tree is dirty. So again, that could be looking adjective. And again, or also you might have mentioned the fact that trees can't really move. So a word to describe that would be still. Trees are very still. Right? Park. I'll give you a few more seconds on this, as this is very different. Two more, and done. All right, so park. So some ways to describe this place noun would be, I might use the adjectives green or brown, or I might talk about some colors you see at the park. You might be using what you think about parks, so you might say that it's fun, you might say it's exciting, or you might be using your sense of sight or eyes, and you might say that parks are big. All right, so here's your challenge for today. So first, you're going to make a list of 15 nouns. So remember, nouns are people, places, animals, or things. And then second, you're going to think of 3 adjectives for each. So here's an example. So the noun I picked first is my sister. And some adjectives or describing words I might use for her are, she's loud. Okay, that's something I think. She is silly, or I might even describe her as smart. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what amazing adjectives you come up with for all your nouns, and feel free to tune in for tomorrow's fun video.